Welcome back, guys, to Monday Shop Talk. One of the most asked questions ever. I see it on the Facebook groups, the forums, the old school forums. How do you set your rates? How do you know what to charge? There is no simple answer for this. But what you have to understand is you have to identify the problem and then you come up with a solution. And the problem is what do I charge? It sounds easy, but it's not. So I'll tell you how I do it. And before I do that, your goal is always, if you want to be here for 20 years like I've been, your goal is always to get the most your customer is willing to pay for that service or product. That's literally it. That is your goal. On the flip side, the customer, typically, their goal is to get said service or product for as little as they can pay. And that's why you typically don't want to give a range. So if someone comes up, hey, can you do this service for me? How much would it be? Well, I mean, you're looking anywhere between $800 and $1,500. You never want to do that, ever. And here's why. The customer will always remember 800. You will always remember 1,500. And it's hard to meet in the middle when it's that big of a gap. If you're going to give a range, make your range very small. It'll be $1,000, $1,050. Are you okay giving away $50? You know, if they complain, well, you said 1,000. So that you always want to, if you have to give, or if you're just in the habit of giving a range, very small, very small. You don't want a big range. So now, the biggest question is, how do you set your rates? So typically, and I may look at this wrong, other people probably do it a different way, but the way I look at it is, out of all of my machines that I have, all of my insurance, all of my taxes, all of it, not counting payroll. I'm not counting payroll. I know what that pretty much is. You know, you have your variables like electricity. You might use some more on one month than the other. Your labor may be a little bit different, but let's leave labor out of it. Like if you have helpers, you take that, and I'll do it for the year, and so then I'll break it up. All right, so I need to make this much money to break even on my expenses. That is typically where you start. So now, the reason I do that is a couple, but the main reason is, and it's hard for some people to understand this, but if I make, let's just say I made this one part, and let's just say it cost me if I never came in here and the lights are always on, let's just say it cost me $20,000 a month just for the privilege to say that I own this company, and I did nothing all month. But I came in and made that one part. Well, that month, that one part cost you $20,000. That's the way I look at it. Obviously, you can't charge the customer that. So from there, what you need to do is, and this is how I do it, is I take it and I break every machine that I have down to what the cost, what the taxes, what the power bill is for that machine. Or let's just say I have $200 power bill, or let's just say $500 power bill. It's much more than that, but let's just say I have a $500 power bill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just for the big equipment that I got. So that's $100 a piece. Divide that by 160 hours, so you know what that power cost that machine if you were to run it the whole month. So if that's what it costs. So I break everything down to a per minute cost, and from there then I start adding my labor. Okay, so if I have somebody that I pay $30 an hour to, that part is going to cost X amount of dollars. And if I have somebody that makes that part that makes $20 an hour, it's going to cost a different amount, obviously. So picking like what your core charge is, I do that after I know what my actual expenses is. So if I know what it costs me a month just to be here, then I know that is my set expenses. So I have to make sure that whenever I do something per hour, and I divide all that to a per hour or per minute situation, so that I know, okay, I need to at least make this to cover my expenses. And then now if it's just me, now I need to eat. So then I will add that on top of it. So let's just say, it costs me, $120 an hour just to operate, and I want to make $30 an hour. So my labor rate is going to be $50 an hour. And you think, oh, I'm sorry, my labor rate is $150 an hour. But you think, oh man, that's a lot. But no, that's just part of it. Now you got to add a profit in there. That's just your expense. So now you need to add what your profit margin is, and then you need to determine, obviously the larger profit margin you get, the faster you can grow. If you keep your profit margin very low, while it's better for the customer, long term it's bad for you, because thinking about maintenance costs, or if you have to replace an air compressor and you haven't been charging enough to be able to have your war chest and to be able to replace that. So that's very important. So you have to determine how much your expenses are, how much you want to get paid, and then after every hour of work, how much is left over for the company so you can grow. So that is how I basically set it in a nutshell. You can go as in-depth as you want. I found the easiest thing to do was add up all my expenses for the year and divide it by 12. That gave me per month, and then from there I can divide it by hour and then cut it into minutes. That's why also having, and this is very important, and this is something you should tell your customer at the beginning of a job, every job, and that is we have a minimum. It's either a 30-minute minimum, a 1 hour minimum, but we have a 1 hour minimum, and it's X dollars. And this is all of your costs, labor, profit that you want to make. So I'm not an accountant. I may be looking at it wrong, but the simplest way I know to do it is to break it into those three groups, and that's how I charge people. And the caveat to that is the reason you want to tell a customer this at the very beginning of it is, and I've had this multiple times, guy comes in, asks me if I could cut something off or I can weld something, and absolutely, I can definitely do that. I can do that right now, or I can, give me an hour and I can get it to it. So, but I'll tell them, now, we have a 1 hour minimum, it's X amount of dollars, and if you're honest with them and you build that trust with customers, they'll respect you more and they'll know what they're dealing with. And I'll tell them straight up, I've got a 1 hour minimum, and this is really a 5-minute job. So if you're okay paying me for that, I will go ahead and do this job for you. So that's a big thing. So you've got to put that out there up front, because you don't want to start that job or finish that job and then what? It's $100. You spent 2 minutes on that. I'm like, yeah, but I got a minimum. Well, you didn't tell me you had a minimum. You want to get that out in the open right away. And again, you can go broke going at home, staying at home. So you have to charge what you have to charge. So hope that'll help some of y'all. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. I'll get to you and let you know how I'd handle the situation. Thanks, guys.